Hi, and welcome to Rudy Sassu's Science Fantasy Experience. So, with all the excitement and hecticness of TF Nation, both doing pre-videos and post-videos, I never got round to doing a response video to TF Knowles' top 5 Transformers cartoon video. So, here we go, gonna do one now. Actually, having a couple of weeks to think about it was good, really. It made me define my choices a bit more and add a bit more of a criteria to what should make it into, the top 5, what should be at number 3, 2 or 1. I'll also give a little honourable mention at the end as well. So yeah, number 5, coming in at number 5, we have Transformers Robots in Disguise from 2001. Although it came out in 2001, I didn't actually see it until, say, 2004. I was working at HMV at the time. And I was in the stockroom unboxing the delivery of DVDs, and there was 2 boxes, a red one and a purple one. It had been split into sort of 2, and they'd put the faction symbols on them, and I was just like, what's this? This looks really interesting. Why is there a picture of the Autobot Decepticon logos and a Predacon logo in the middle? And so I flipped over, looked at the back, and I was like, oh, this is a brand new rejuvenation, I guess, or a reboot of Transformers. So I literally just bought it that day. Got 1 episode in, and I was literally a bit like, oh, I'm not too sure about this. I'm not too sure if I'm keen on Prime being a fire engine, and I was definitely unsure of Megatron being a dragon, a bird monster, a hand, a jet thing. So I went and kept on going though, and watched a few more episodes, and then I was hooked. I love that show. Not so much interested in the Autobot brothers, and I'm not too fussed on Prime and Megatron at all, really. I thought it was good that they'd taken the 2 protagonists into a different direction, but it wasn't those core characters that did really anything for me. And they drop in loads of characters throughout the show. There's so many, and they're really interesting along the way. But for me, the main bits I really enjoyed were seeing a brand new iteration of Ultra Magnus. I absolutely love the alt mode of Ultra Magnus in this show. I also like the character, his personality. It's a refreshing change to what Ultra Magnus was. Also the fact that it can combine with Optimus to create Omega Prime. It's just a really cool addition to the Transformers lore. That's not the main thing though. For me, it was what they did in terms of looking back over previous incarnations of Transformers. They took just little bits of flavour from Beast Wars and a little bit of G2 and a little snippet of G1 and added it to the show. And we got toys again of the Generation 2 GoBots, given brand new names, although they're reusing older names. And they just gave them really cool decos. Ironhide's a pickup truck in a cow kind of deco, and crosswise it just and they use translucent plastic, and it's just that little bit of a flavour of G2 that I love. They also brought Brave Maximus in. You could now buy the Fortress Maximus mould again in the shops in a brand new wild deco, and it's just really, really cool. But the be-all, end-all for me in terms of that show is the Decepticons. The fact that they are redecoed G1 Combaticons and called Ruination or Baldius, and the colour choices that they made for Ruination, it's really, really cool. They did just awesome animated cutscenes of it combining, and it just did that just little bit of homage to G1, and really refreshed it, and it got me hooked into the show. So yeah, coming in at number 5, we've got Transformers: Robots in Disguise. In at number 4, we have got Transformers Victory, the third installment, I guess, the third series in the post G1 Japanese continuity, and this is quite the way away from what G1 was. Total brand new characters. The only character that you see briefly is Wheeljack and Minerva and God Jinray, and subsequently God Jinray becomes Victory Leo. And it's a dark show. It's so much more graphic. The anime style is very Japanese. A bit too many cutscenes. I don't need to see Star Saber transformation cutscene every time he transforms. It's good at first. I don't need to see it over and over again. That's the only downside to that show. But yeah, it introduces you to the new Autobot leader Star Saber, and what a toy the G1, and what a masterpiece that show gave us, to give us such an amazing toy. And subsequent other toys, the main bad guy Desaurus, he's a bird monster with little bits of gold plastic and interesting colorways. And it also introduced us to the Micromasters. Obviously, I only saw this show in 2008 or something, 10 years ago. So I had no idea that what was going to be coming. And then to see all the Micromasters and the Galaxy Shuttle, and toys that I actually had, again, years and years later, to see them in an animated form, it was mind blowing. It's a really, really cool show, and if you are a lover of G1, I do suggest you go and check out Victory. Obviously, if you can handle subtitles. I don't even believe there's a dub or even a Star TV dub of Victory, but those dubs are difficult to watch. It also, you got to see Dino King, the combiner of the two, which was in what we had in the West was Monstructor. And it's just really interesting characters that I'd never really seen before. You see them in toy form, but then you see these personalities. So yeah, it's a really, really cool show, and a real joy to watch. So many interesting little gimmicks. You'd moved on from Headmasters, Target Masters, and Godmasters, and you now had Brain Masters. A tiny small figure that you put in the chest of the figure, and then as you transform, it automorphs and it reveals the face. And the 3 Autobot cars in that show, you got Ferrari F40, Lamborghini Countach. Don't Transformers love a Countach? And an unbranded kind of like beach buggy, and they form a Gestalt as well, 3 robots into one. And that's a really Road Caesar. That's a really, really cool character and a really cool toy. I saw boxed ones at TF Nation, and they were lovely and expensive. I'm not even going to put them on the wish list. They're way out of my price range. So yeah, that's my 4th choice, Transformers Victory. Number 3. This one is this going to be controversial? Maybe a bit. For the hardcore fans and the purists, this isn't a Transformers show. In terms of technicality, Hasbro bought the rights, and they bought all the names and renamed certain bits. and certain little G1 mini bots got made in colour decos into these characters. I am talking about Challenge of the GoBots. Coming in at number 3, we have Challenge of the GoBots, and I adore Challenge of the GoBots. It's one of my favourite shows of all time. It was one of my favourite shows as a kid, and rewatching it again 5 or 6 years ago, it still holds up for me. And, you know, for various reasons. One, the animation is fluid. Every episode looks the same, and it's going to. It was made by Hanna-Barbera, and they have explicit standards of what they put out in terms of animated. And it's when it was, you know, out at the time in, you know, 83, 84, you would get up in the 6 weeks holidays and turn on TV, and you would watch Whack-A-Day, and you would get a 4-minute slice of entertainment every day for that 1 week, and you'd get you get to see the whole episode, and you get to see Timmy Mallet saying "Go Bots, go Botty" just before the show came on, and it's what I got up for in the 6 weeks holidays from school in that summer, and there's so much joy with that show. And not just from the toys, which I'll get on to shortly, but again it's with the characters. And for me, there's a sense of innocence with the GoBots. Along with humour and drama. In terms of her humour, I don't know if they intended it to be funny, but names like Psykill and Coptor, I find them really, really funny, and it's just, even as a kid, I thought, oh, that's a really funny name, and a really cool name. And for me, Crasher, the female Le Mans car, she was like frightening. I think it was the laugh and the pink face with the glaring eyes, and Psykill's. I feel he has such a hard-looking face. You know, he's got Transformer stubble. Yeah, Scooter's voice slightly annoying, but then again, Turbo's voice is really, really cool. Yeah, a lot of fun with that show. And onto the toys with that. The toys, the Super GoBots, the bigger ones, sturdy as. The small ones, not so much. But they were the size of Matchbox cars, so the play value is, you could put them, with your Matchbox cars, and then you'd be like, Dad, check this out. All these cars are hidden. Some of these are robots. And then he'd be like, what are you talking about? And then I would literally click it into place. And when I was thinking about doing this top 5 list, I was just thinking back to my childhood watching GoBots, and I guess you don't really notice it at the time. I definitely didn't, and then reverting back from my childhood to the last couple of years, all the Porsche cars, all the German manufactured cars have German sounding names. I think it's brilliant. Baron von Joy and Herr Fiend. I'm going to talk about Herr Fiend in another video, so stay tuned for that. So yeah, a great show. Absolutely love that one. Can it be classed as a Transformers show? Maybe not, but it's my list, so deal with it. Right, we're on to coming in at number 2. Right, number 2 and number 1. This was a struggle. It's just, what do I choose as 1 and 2? Right, number 2, Transformers. There we go. The 1984-85 86, 87, that the G1 era, and it comes in at number 2 because there is something that supersedes it in my love of Transformers. But yeah, Transformers, the show that started it all. You know, comes in 1984, and it blows a young Rudy, a young 5-6-year-old Rudy away. And everything stems from this show. The way it was written, the way that they got all the toys from different areas and they created the names, and the fact that the brand of Transformers is still going now, it owes it all to this show. And once again, it was on Whackaday, again with the little 5-minute installments every day, and that's what got me hooked. You know, I had other things that came with my love of Transformers, and what added to the show. You know, the more episodes you watched, the more Panini stickers you wanted to get, because you'd seen that image of Skyfire trapped in the ice, and you watched the show, and you then went, to the shops on a Saturday. You went to Tandy's and Zodiac, and there's a toy shop called Beatty's, and a department store where I grew up, and they'd have just stacks and stacks. Jolly Giant, they would have just rows and rows of Transformers, and you always wanted to pick up the ones that you'd seen on the show. Sadly, the show does get tarred with it was an advertising piece for, you know, the new toy line. But when you're a kid, you don't even think like that. It's only when you are a jaded adult that comes into your mind. But I don't even think like that. I let that go a long, long time ago, because it is just literally about pure love for the show. It's something that's never gone away in my life. I've never stopped liking Transformers. I may have sold pieces along the way. I've donated parts of my toy collection away, but the love is still there. I'll always go back to watching episodes here and there, and thinking back, there was a point where I watched the Rebirth more than I watched the movie. I'd say 88, 89, going to the video shop in my local village, and you could rent both. Actually, you could rent quite a few Transformers videos, thinking back. You could rent Grimlock's New Brain, which was 50p, Transformers the movie, which was £1 to rent, and the Rebirth, which was also £1. You could also rent Starscream's Brigade and the Revenge of Bruticus. That was a double. And I always wanted to rent the Rebirth over and over again. So yeah, for a point, I liked that more than the movie. I could go on and on about the Transformers show, and maybe that's a video for another time. So yeah, coming in at number 4, Transformers. So on to the top spot, number 1, which is also kind of G1. But again, I didn't see this until 2008, because it is the middle of the 3 Japanese continuity after the end of G1, after season 3, because the Rebirth doesn't exist in the Japanese continuity. It is Super God Master Force. This is my be-all, end-all Transformers show. The one that I love the most. It's the one that has most of my favourite characters, and the themes, the storylines, the characters, excuse me, the toys that came from that. Once again, that's another show where we got the toys in, say, 89, 90, and they were just toys to us. And it's not until 2008 when I see Overlord, which is Mega and Giga in the show, that the two come together, and I'm like, wow, this is awesome. This now makes sense. This is where these toys came from. We get the Headmaster Juniors. We get Pretenders. Now we understand where the Pretender shells come from and why they look like they did in 1991, whenever the Pretenders came out. You know, you have a character that looks like Optimus Prime. It's not Optimus Prime. You know, it's God Jinray. We all know my love for God Jinray, and you know, my favourite G1 toy of all time. There's so much enjoyment to have in that show. It also doesn't have too many transforming cutscenes. It's also got the King Poseidon. It's got the Seacons. One of my very first purchases with my own saved up money, as opposed to a toy gift, was Overbite. So seeing that character gave me huge nostalgia feels, and it's a show that I can go back to over and over again. I can watch it in its entirety. You know, sometimes I can literally just watch 3 episodes in an evening, and then I'm ready to do it again the next day. Yeah, so number 1 is Transformers Super God Master Force. And since I'm currently dusting him at the moment, it's always something to have a visual aid when you're doing a video. So he's right here because, as I said, I am in mid-dusting mode. Super God Master Force gives us this beast. God Jinray, Super God Jinray, Power Master Optimus Prime and Apex Arda. Never heard of that name. So yeah, it gives us my favourite toy of all time. This bad boy. Yes. So, they're my top 5, and as I said, I'm going to do an honourable mention, taking a cue from the Cybertron top 5s. I've got to give an honourable mention to Beast Wars. I've watched the show through twice, actually. I caught it here and there, in the end of, I think, 99. I was at university at the time, so if I'd kind of, on a Saturday morning, if I'd woken up early, it was often on at, say, like 9:45 on GMTV. And I'd caught snippets here and there, and then I watched it back in the mid-2000s, and I'm going to give it an honourable mention because there is a couple of standout episodes. You know, there's the episode where Starscream takes over Waspinator. That's a great show. And The Agenda, the 3-part end of Series 2 climax. Just because there's so much G1 goodness in that show. You get to hear Ravage, because Ravage comes back, he's reprogrammed and rebuilt as a Predacon, but he transforms back into a tape cassette. And once again, I mentioned before in other Transformers videos, it's that little bit of flavour just to add to a show. So yeah, they're my top 5 and my honourable mention. Thanks to TF Nolsey for getting a video out there and doing a top 5. I always love a top 5, a top 10. So they're my choices. As always, take care, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks. Bye.